I was owed a lot of money. And for a young man to be owed money like that, that's...
I think my brother stole all my money.
The level of arrogance to then owe all these comics money.
$20 million.
You didn't fucking pay me.
They went to a network, he stole it.
You were so clueless about how hated you were. It was hilarious.
That's our money, D. That's our money.
That's why you made it this business. You didn't give a
You took advantage of me.
Back in August of last year, comedian Jim Breuer told a true story about his manager stealing his money, and it wasn't like stealing out of his pockets or from his bank account. He was withholding payments from shows he was doing. That same manager also took an idea that Jim brought to him and implemented it with a separate comic behind Jim's back. Jim never said the name of this person in his video, so it's been somewhat of a mystery for me, and I just wanted to figure out who this was, so that's what we're doing today. We're going to start off with Jim's story so you can get familiar with it if you are not already. His full video will be linked in the description. I highly recommend subscribing to his channel. His series Funny How God Works is really, really good, and he's a crazy good storyteller. So his story starts off around 2001, 2002. Him and the wife are living in New York, so it's pretty expensive, and he's doing all the stand-up gigs he can get.
But when I first really started, I wasn't getting paid. I'm really young, just got married. My wife and I really can't afford the rent. So I'd go out and do all these gigs, these college gigs and all that. And I'd come to him and he'd be like, oh, you know, I ain't got no money. And I remember talking to other comedians about it. We would go there, say that, hey, you know, we did these gigs already. Where's our money? And we end up leaving the office going, I'm really sorry that I asked for my money, and I'm really, you know, I understand your predicament. It was like an insane voodoo trick that he had on all of us.
Pay attention to this impression Jim does because it's actually pretty accurate.
My wife and I are about to have our first child. I came up with this tour idea, and I remember going to my manager and going, comedians haven't filmed being on a tour with a tour bus up until this time. And I'm going to bring my best friends that I grew up with. They're going to play in a band behind me. And I will never forget his face. He's sitting there and he goes, oh my God, this is genius, Papa. This has never been done before. I mean, you have rock and roll comedians, but like to actually film all this and be on. And I remember seeing his eyes light up and the excitement. And
so Jim ends up firing him because he still never paid him all the money he was owed.
I was owed a lot of money. And for a young man to be owed money like that, anyone to be owed money is just wrong. Well, I let him go about 2 weeks later.
Man, I really wouldn't have told somebody my plan if it was something I cared about them implementing with somebody else. Because you know this guy has a history of not paying people, and if you had even an inkling of an idea that you were gonna fire him, bad move, man. But it doesn't make what the manager did right.
So when I got Saturday Night Live, that was my first big, now I have the leverage. But I still had that in the back of my mind. You took advantage of me. So when I presented this idea and I saw him like, oh man, and part of me was like, little does he know I'm gonna pull the rug out from under him.
Anyways, cut to a year later or so, and Jim is hearing about a comedian doing something that sounds an awful lot like his idea.
But before all this goes down, when I leave the manager, some friends come up to me like, hey man, have you seen this comedian? And they got this tour bus and cameras. What? No, I haven't. No, I don't know what you're talking about. And I would hear more and more like, hey, you know, this guy, you know, he kind of looks like rock and roll-y now. And I'm like, no. And the next thing you know, a series comes out on one of the cable networks. Huge. Like it is a monstrosity at the time. I'm all for anyone getting success, but when I see what started this, that's mine.
The next few years, Jim watches his old manager and this new comic blow up, and it all started with Jim's idea. Now, I'm just gonna say it, the comedian that's blowing up while Jim is at home is Dane Cook. Dane kind of put on this rock and roll looking aesthetic and filmed that behind the scenes style show, and the rest is history. Dane was one of the biggest comics of all time, but it did not last long.
At a young age was famous, hanging around with beautiful women, rich, and there was a lot of, and I learned years later, and I can actually confirm that a lot of these same people came to me years later. I was just really fucking like, I was frustrating. I wanted to have more of what you had. Anyway.
I mean, you were selling out.
It was a 10-year run, man. It was 10-year run of like everything I could have wanted to have happen in the world of stand-up, and then all these things beyond it.
He was accused of stealing jokes by Louis C.K., which his joke was pretty identical.
My wife and I were thinking of having a baby, and I'd like to have a kid, because you can name your kid anything you want. I like that part.
I think about having kids. I'd love to have some kids. I've been thinking about kids. I want to have like 19 kids. I think naming them, that's going to be fun.
I'd like to give my kid an interesting name, you know? Like a name with no vowels, maybe, you know? Just like...
Whatever the names that you come up with, that's exciting right there. You get to both decide, hey, do you want to name that? No, I don't like that name. Right? It's like a little game. You try to come up. I already have names picked out. I don't even know. First kid, boy, girl, I don't care. The first one that comes out, I'm naming it...
I don't think that you saw me do those jokes and said, I'm going to tell those jokes too. I don't think there's a world where you're that stupid or that bad a guy. I think you saw me do them. I know you saw me do them, and I think they just went in your brain. And I don't think you meant to do it, but I don't think you stopped yourself either.
And then his brother stole like 90% of his money or something. Dane went from being popular, rich, to obscure and fighting his own brother in court.
And then I go through this terrible situation with my brother. I had to put my brother in prison for, let's just say, bad management.
Yeah.
He'd been sending me fake statements for maybe 10 years. I loved my brother. I really did. He was my first real best friend. And then Monday I woke up and I literally sat up in my bed, turned to my girlfriend, woke her up, and I go, I think my brother stole all my money.
You just had this
How
feeling?
did you know?
There's a lot of things that added up. My new business manager was like, this is, really off kilter. Usually people will send me, and it hit me. And I went down to Bank of America. I talked to the manager. She brought me into her office, and basically it was like, yeah, there's nothing in your corporate accounts. I couldn't even get into my own accounts. I gave her my federal ID number. She goes, none of these work. He'd given me false. Yeah. I'd never looked in my bank.
Okay.
I'd never looked. I just trusted him.
Can we go to the next
Why
thing?
wouldn't you?
Yeah. So I called the Attorney General's office of Massachusetts. I said, you're going to want to find my brother. I said, not only because of what he's probably stolen from me, I said, but probably what he's stolen from the state. And then they were like, we're on
ding,
it.
Ding, ding, ding. Yeah.
And so they got him. They arrested him and his
And he's sent to prison?
Yeah. I sent him to, actually, he was before he worked for me, he was a corrections officer. He was
What?
At the prison I sent him back to.
What?
No.
What?
I hired him and got him out of the jail to work for me.
I really don't think that all of Dane Cook's success is just because of that one idea that was taken from Jim and given to him, because Dane Cook really did have a lot of fans, and he also filled 100 arenas during his peak.
Comedy Central. Next, it's Cutting Edge Stand-Up with Comedy Central presents Dane Cook.
I grew up Catholic, and you would go up and get the, the crouton, oh Christ. A Jesus. Oh, it's a little stale today.
Comedy Central presents Dane Cook. Next, part of Summer with a Twist, only on Comedy Central.
There was a few guys that I saw that were like no-brainers.
Yeah.
Dane was one. Like the shit that he gets through, the level that guy was killing. Dude, he put the fear in God in guys that have been doing it for 20 years. And Dane would have the headliner like pacing in the back.
Damn.
He was killing that hard, and he would be like, I shouldn't have to follow that. There's no, and my favorite thing, there's no jokes here. It's like, well, listen to the crowd. There's something going on here.
Right,
and like, he doesn't get credit. He kind of came up with like a new genre.
So if we look up who Dane Cook's manager was during his rise and who Jim Breuer's manager was early in his career, we get the same person, which is Barry Katz. Barry has had a lot of success with managing comics. I mean, he had Dave Chappelle, Louis C.K., Tracy Morgan, and quite a few other pretty successful comics. Again, I'm not saying Barry did anything. I would never do that. I'm just giving you guys information that's available on the internet. I continued looking into Barry to see if there was a pattern of this behavior that, Jim spoke about in his story. and I was only able to find one video, which was actually on Barry's own channel. Now, I don't know if Barry forgot he owed Bill Burr money, because as soon as the podcast started, Bill Burr just started really ripping into him and roasting him.
Listen, I listen to your podcast. And and some of the comics that come on here, I'm like, how are they not bringing up the fact that he still owes them money? How are they not bringing this up? How are we ignoring this whole aspect of your goddamn career? This is actually going to hurt my career to be here.
For those of you who don't know Charlie was the greatest street performer of all time. He played at Washington Square Park.
How much do you owe him?
The video that's on Barry's channel is not the full original video. I'm assuming when he originally uploaded it, he got some negative feedback, maybe, because I don't know why he would take the original down, trim the main part out where Bill confronts him, and then re-uploads it again to his channel. Luckily, Bill Burr University actually archived the missing parts, and I'm very excited to show you this.
We were supposed to start a half hour ago. No big deal. If I was going to be pissed off at you, it'd be that first gig I ever did for you, and I didn't get fucking money.
Do you remember which one that was?
No, but I love that you can sit across me and think it's funny. That's why you made it in this business. You didn't give a shit.
Bill is just shaming him. He's not defending himself, not denying even a little bit of it.
Yeah, you know.
How much did you not get paid?
Like $75, which was a lot. And then years later, your office called. Yeah, Barry owes you $75. I was like, he doesn't owe me shit. Like I didn't want anything. I was pissed at you for a long time about that. Before you bought your fucking Magnum PI wannabe Ferrari. That hunk of shit. It was like the worst Ferrari ever made. And then your dumb ass was pulling up in front of the club with the convertible top down. It was just like, you were so clueless about how hated you were. It was hilarious.
Imagine a guy owes your friends and you money, and then he just shows up one day in a Ferrari. I guarantee you his staff, if he has any there right now, are so uncomfortable. I wonder if Jim Breuer has actually seen this interview. That'd be cool if he posted a reaction to this video on his channel.
But you said something really interesting about that, about how I was clueless about how much people hated me.
You had to have been the level of arrogance to then owe all these comics money and then pull up in that fucking Magnum PI. I love you, Barry. I'm just breaking your balls. That's all.
No, I love to have my balls broken, especially by somebody like you.
You still read those mind control books? I remember you used to go into his office. He'd have books behind him as he's trying to sell you on his representation about mind control on the fucking bookshelf. It's like, this guy, he can't be serious. This has to be a sketch.
That is actually weird, because Bill just brought up the mind control thing and how Barry was into mind control. And then Jim Breuer brought up how it was like Barry did some sort of voodoo trick on them.
And I remember talking to other comedians about it. We would go there, say that, hey, you know, we did these gigs already, where's our money? And we end up leaving the office going, I'm really sorry that I asked for my money, and I'm really, you know, I understand your predicament. It was like an insane voodoo trick that he had on all of us.
Yeah, so Barry's definitely on some respectable comics bad side, but there's a bunch of well-known, pretty reputable comics that have a decent relationship with him, or at least they seem like it.
And I love you. I mean, you're my father, really, you know. I have a dad who's wonderful, but you more than anybody in my life, to be 18 years old and have a guy go, fuck it, you're the best. Just do it. Tell them it's my fault. It doesn't matter. Keep going. Yes, you are the best. I must be the best. You're in the business of spotting it. It doesn't help you to lie to somebody that stinks. So I had that behind me.
Going off of what Jim Breuer and Bill Burr said, it seems like, and this is all speculation, it seems like new or lesser comics were the ones getting wronged by Barry. As if it was easier to get away with it. Or maybe I can play devil's advocate. Maybe he had a really stupid secretary or assistant that was bad at staying on top of things. If I was Barry, I would go with that excuse. That's going to be it for this video. I appreciate it if you watched all the way through, and if you subscribed, I am like crazy grateful. You have no idea. Anyways, I'll see you in the next video.
No, I love to have my balls broken.
The level of arrogance